everyone, Alexa Dunn here, and today I'm going to be telling you all about all of the major publishers, large, medium, and small, that you should know, particularly for young adult fiction. I am, of course, going to go over the so-called Big Five, also other major publishers you've probably heard of that you should know, and also go over imprints that you should know. You can watch this video at any stage in the process, whether you're just researching traditional publishing or you're looking into agents, but this is really for authors who have agents and are going on submission. Like when your agent gives you your submission list, I hope that this video helps you kind of know what publishers are on it and possibly why. One thing I'd like to say up front. While generally speaking, big publishers are going to have the best distribution networks for getting your books out into the world, that is not always true. I am going to be talking about a few smaller publishers and independent publishers that have amazing book distribution. So size does not always matter when it comes to publishing. So let's start with the Big Five. Why are they called the Big Five? Well, they're really big. They're big. These are the biggest publishing houses in the industry, and in most cases, they're some of the oldest. They have been around for a really, really long time. Now, there used to be more than five. Since I started trying to be published, there used to be the Big Six, but then there was a merger, which is what gave us the Big Five. And in the past, there were more than just the five or the six, but publishing has definitely been consolidating and merging over the years, and that's how we get these wonderful mega publishers. So you're going to know some of these. These are the household names of publishers. So the Big Five are HarperCollins, Penguin Random House, Simon & Schuster, Macmillan, and Hachette. Hachette isn't quite as much of a household name, but trust me, you know some of the imprints under Hachette. The big one in YA that you're going to hear is Little Brown. Here are the key imprints that you are going to want to know for YA for each of the Big Five publishers. So for HarperCollins, you need to know Harper Teen, Balzer and Bray, Catherine Teigen, Green Willow, Harper Children's, and Harlequin Teen. There's another example of mergers and acquisitions, folks. Harlequin used to be an independent publisher, and now it is owned by HarperCollins. At any publisher, each imprint is going to have its own kind of personality, taste, and way that it's run. At HarperCollins, Harper Teen is the largest YA imprint of all of those imprints. They publish a lot of books per year. Next after that, you're definitely going to hear Harper Children's a lot. That's just generally the children's division of HarperCollins, and technically Harper Teen and many of these other imprints fall under that. Then Balzer and Bray and Catherine Teigen are named for the publishers who run those imprints, and they're a bit more boutique as you can get at a massive publisher, but they have, more, taste-driven, smaller lists, and of course Green Willow as well. Then Harlequin Teen, being a part of Harlequin, is a romance-driven YA imprint. So next is Penguin Random House, and because Random House was a major publisher and Penguin was a major publisher and then they merged, there's a heck of a lot of imprints here. So I'm just going to rattle through them pretty quickly. So Penguin Random House. There's Razorbill, Dial, Philomel, Crown, Dutton, Viking, Delacourt, Kathy Dawson Books, Putnam, and Knopf. Whew! That's a lot. And of course, Random House itself, which is still it still has its own brand name. Whew. Penguin Random House actually has a ton of other imprints, but those are the ones that I thought were worth knowing for YA because they publish titles that you will have heard of and you may be submitted to editors at those imprints. Next is Simon & Schuster, which is a lot smaller among the majors, and you would hear Simon & Schuster's children's division, Simon Pulse, or Salam Reads. Salam Reads is the new division of Simon & Schuster that specializes in publishing Muslim voices. Next is Macmillan. So big imprints that you want to know at Macmillan for YA include Henry Holt, Wednesday Books, St. Martin's, Flatiron, Tor and Tor Teen, Farrar, Straus and Giroux, Fywell and Friends, Roaring Brook, and an imprint that is called Imprint. And I just think that is too clever. Another example in there of mergers and acquisitions in publishing, Tor used to be an independent publisher and is now owned by Macmillan. And last but certainly not least, as I mentioned, Hachette, you know Little Brown books for children, like that is a major name in YA publishing. And then they also have Jimmy Patterson, which is James Patterson's own imprint, and they've been making some real waves and splashes with their recent YA releases. So those are the big five and some imprints that you're gonna hear come up over and over again within those big five publishers. Now the next category is major publishers that just aren't big five. They're not quite as large as the big five, but I'm gonna rattle off these names. You're gonna be like, I can't believe those aren't big five publishers. Like they're major publishers, and there's very little distinction between the big five publishers and these publishers. And they include Scholastic, Bloomsbury, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and Disney. Yeah, I mean, they're pretty major publishers. Now, for the most part, those publishers don't have a bunch of imprints under them. A few of them do, but for the most part, all you need to know is the names of those publishers. And one of them is mine. I am published by Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, and it might be Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, but I've been saying Houghton for 8 million years, so die hard, yeah. Now, I want to talk a bit about smaller and mid-sized publishers and kind of the distinction between them, because that is the next big category. And here's where it honestly gets a little bit murky. Some of these are based off of my thoughts, opinions, and observations. There isn't an official list out there like there is for the big five and the major publishers of like what exactly each of these qualifies as. The big thing when you get into smaller and mid-sized publishers and independent publishers is that they are not all created equal. The names I'm going to be giving to you here are ones that I know are legitimate publishers, that they are good publishers, that they have distribution in bookstores and agents work with them, and I haven't heard any horror stories about them. The thing is, when you get into small and independent publishers, there are dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens, because just like with agenting, technically almost anyone can say, hey, I'm a publisher, and set up a shingle and start publishing books. Can they do it well? Often not. Are they qualified to do it? Often not. So I just want to give that distinction that this is not a list of every possible small or mid-sized publisher you could possibly look at. It's a list of the ones that I know are legit, that I think that you should know as an author who has an agent and is going out, you know, into the publishing world. Now, a few of these do accept unagented submissions, that said. So I'm going to start with kind of mid-sized. They're not super tiny. Isn't that helicopter just like circling great? Hold on, let's wait. What crime was committed in Hollywood today? This happens in Hollywood a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and read off this list. These are kind of mid-sized publishers that get their books distributed into bookstore that I think that you should know. So they are Kensington, Soho Teen, Allenquin, Candlewick, Abrams Amulet, Carol Rhoda Books, Source Books, Sky Pony, Albert Whitman, and Flux, which is under North Star Editions. Apologies if I butchered the pronunciation of any of those. I probably did. Let's just be real. I would like to make a note about a few of these just in terms of distribution. So Source Books on that list, they get their books into Target and Costco. They are a perfect example of a small independent publisher that has excellent distribution, you know, on par with major publishers, so that the size of the publisher or the independence of the publisher is not always the indicator of how, you know, well they're going to do and how far your books are going to do. All of those publishers, as I mentioned, do get their books into major bookstores, and they are included in all of the distribution catalogs that get books into libraries. So last Last but certainly not least is a list of newer publishers, some of whom lean on digital first, and digital first means that their titles published digitally first, and not all titles are printed and distributed, as printed hardcover books. But these are new up-and-comers. I'm seeing agents do deals with these for YA. Everything seems to check out. They have good distribution. So it's a short list. So they are Untitled Teen, Amberjack, Page Street, and Diversion Books. So as I mentioned, there are so many more small, new, indie, up-and-coming publishers, but this video includes the ones that I feel comfortable sharing with you, my viewers, who I'm trying to guide through the publishing industry. So that is everything. Those are all of the publishers and imprints that you should know if you are trying to get published, specifically and particularly in YA. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Drop them down below in the comments. If this sparked, ideas for, other videos, the topics that you'd like me to cover, definitely let me know. I love talking about publishing and publishers. Thank you so much for watching. If you did like this video, these sorts of info dump, top line information videos, give it a thumbs up so I know that you want me to make more. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I post new videos 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm all about in-depth publishing knowledge. Thank you so much for watching, and happy writing, everyone.